Hey, how you doing? So this week I've been chatting with Chris from Codex Painting, and you can check his work out on Instagram. And we were talking about some of the challenges when it comes to painting power weapons, for example, that they don't just end up looking like a lightsaber. I guess it's the same for magical weapons if you're doing fantasy-based minis. Now, in recent videos you'll see that I'm starting to play with inks more, and that's something Chris hasn't used much in his modelling to date. So he sent me a few power swords and to have a play with, see what effects we can get. So in today's video, we're going to play with some paint, play with some inks, and have a go and see if we can get some really nice effects for some power/magical weapons. Anyway, that's enough of an intro. Let's go play with some paint. So I've just started off with a plain black base coat from Army Painter. So first of all, I want to create some graduation of colour through here. So I'm going to use a 50-50 mix of pure white and pure black and mix this to make a grey. Now it depends on how you prefer to paint. You could dry brush this on, but I'm going to kind of wet blend it in from a grey down by the hilt through to black at the tip. And once again, there's loads of techniques for using wet blending. Some people do lots of layers. Me personally, I just kind of tend to almost mix the paint on the model itself. So now I'm going to add more white to the mix to make a lighter grey, and I'm going to go along the edges of the blade using the side of the brush to get a nice highlight along the edge of the blade and where little other chinks or other reflections may well be in there. And then layer upon layer using a little bit of extra white in the mix each time to just build up those highlights, and also you can start to paint in the pattern that you want to use on the blade. Because you graduated up to the black at the tip of the blade, when you put on the very bright highlight over the end, it's much more stark. It shows up really nicely. Okay, now it's time for some ink. First of all, I'm going to put a rough coat of ink over the entire blade. So the important thing to remember with ink is that it's different from paint. Sounds obvious, but what I mean by that is normally when you put a brush stroke down with standard paint, the colour is often stronger at the beginning and it tails off as the brush runs out of paint. With an ink, it's often the other way around. So because you can almost pushing the ink along with the brush, it's often fainter at the beginning and comes a stronger colour as you lift your brush off the surface. And you can use this to your advantage. So because I want a very bright down by the hilt and a darker by the tip of the blade, I'm going to start at the base and then almost push the ink up along the blade, so therefore I get a tint of colour by the hilt and a strong deep colour at the tip of the blade. So once that's dried, I'm going to add some white ink to the blue or the purple or whatever colour ink you've used for the blade. And I'm then going to use that to pick out some of the highlights and some of the really nice details in the pattern on the blade. And this is kind of where I'm going to play with it and see if I can pull out some of those really cool patterns and effects in these swords. Now, one thing to be careful with is not to overwork it, so therefore you're not going to lose that graduation of colour from the hilt through to the tip of the blade. And there you go, quite a quick, simple way of doing your power weapons or magical weapons. As you can see, you can get quite a variety of different styles and effects just by playing with it. Now if you did like that, please support us by pressing the like button, as it will help us to reach more people. So have fun with your modelling, and I'll see you next time on the next video as we continue to explore the world of miniature modelling. Take care, bye bye.